Well, tell us about that pass rush in Birmingham the other night. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good, and I think the biggest thing is the guys' effort. I mean, they played really hard. Of course, sometimes we was only rushing 3, so to hit home with 3 guys rushing, it just speaks about their effort that they gave on Saturday night. But it was good to see.
You have 15 sacks through 3 games. And I looked up earlier today, 8 different guys have at least a half a sack. Do you attribute some of that to the cohesion and the chemistry and the gel between the guys along the defensive line?
Yeah, we got a close group. I think coming out of camp, we had a lot of guys in different roles, and we mixed up the lineups a little bit, and that gave the guys a lot of confidence, meaning it didn't have to be the ones in there in a 2-minute situation. It could have been a guy that was third team and then with a guy that's first team. And just them seeing the first guy, being in there with the first guys, a lot of the times gives them a spark because it makes them feel like they believe, the coaches believe in them and believe in their ability level. And I think now it's paying off because we got depth. And, that's something we haven't had, looking back at last season, that was one of the things we did not have. Third down, we couldn't bring a fresh 3 in or a fresh 4 in. Some of the guys that played first and second down had to continue to play on third down.
So what kind of challenge was it for you in that rotation when Mason wasn't around? And how did it work this game?
Well, the big thing with us up front, the last 2 weeks have been real tough for us. I mean, even go back to Northwestern State, we had, 2 of my players lost close loved ones that they had to admit, like Mason missed 2 games, and then Lance Williams last week, he didn't get a chance to go with us because he had a close loved one pass away. So the adversity, the guys in the room has faced so far this season. Normally you don't see that in a season, and with guys losing loved ones. And I think the guys just got a whole lot closer. We was already close, but they understood, now not so much stepping up, that they got to be there for their teammate because they don't want Mason and they didn't want Lance to be at home thinking like, man, I let the guys down by not being here. And we wanted them to come back and have no pressure and jump right back in and not feel like, I got to pick up and do my part. And so it gave Mason an opportunity to ease his way back in on Saturday. Nigel McGriff, he did a great job filling in for him. But it was good. Nigel would be the first person to tell you it was great to have Mason back on Saturday to go along with him.
And he was normal, or you think this game he'll be kind of back to normal?
Oh, I think anytime you miss 2 weeks of practice, your conditioning is not there. Before he left, he was in really good shape. But coming back off of, being away for that reason, the reason why he was away, he was a little bit, breathing a little hard last week at practice just because he was trying to come back and do so much so fast for the team. And I could realize that, so I was pulling him out in and out of practice. And then when he got in the game, I just told him, just be yourself. We're going to rotate, keep you fresh. I think he played 30 plays, 40 plays on Saturday out of 80. So this week I look for him to, get back to normal. Because
a game like this and against Northwestern State kind of continue to raise the bar throughout the rest of the schedule?
We talk about we really don't play the uniform, meaning we don't play the team we're going against. Every week, we're just trying to get better at our technique and our fundamentals. But we really just don't look at who the opponent is to say, okay, this team we're playing is a FCS team, this team is a G5. We really don't go about our business like that. We just I want the guys to understand each week if we can continue to get better and continue to get the depth that we need. And we still missing a guy, and he'll be back next week. And so that'll be another big boost for us going into next week, having him back, and then we'll be complete. That'll be the first time in a long time I had the whole group together.
So Coach Des talked about Buffalo having a bunch of large lads on their team. So like, what kind of challenges that? Because y'all aren't humongous on the line. So
We're
what kind of challenges?
we're not big up front. I mean, probably our biggest guys is Sonny. I'm talking from a weight standpoint, and then we got Lawson who got the length, but he don't have the weight. We try to play with really good technique. Try to be very technical, and that's what I stress every day in practice, that our technique, but then we got to run to the football. We got to play with tremendous elite effort, and I was proud of that on Saturday. I didn't think as a group we played with great technique at times, but I thought one thing we did do a good job of, we rallied to the football, and every time that ball carrier, the quarterback had it, you saw 5 or 6 hats getting to the ball. So we had to continue to build off of that.
You guys made it look easy, but I mean, you've been around the game a long time. How hard is it for a unit to get 7 sacks in a game? Like how special of a performance was that?
It's tough. And to be honest with you, we didn't know how many sacks we had. I mean, I really didn't even know until yesterday. I think somebody put it on social media that we had 15 sacks. Like I really didn't. It didn't register to the players. None of us. Just like you said, it's like 8 different guys. So it's not just one guy like heating it up, and it's coming from a variety of people. But when we look back at it, it goes back to the same thing I've been talking about, just elite effort. And you got to give credit to the secondary as well for covering 8 guys and make him go to a second or third option at times, especially when you're rushing 3. But it's a team effort to get that job accomplished.
Buffalo comes in 0-3. How do you remind these guys, and maybe especially your younger ones, not to play down to your opponent?
Well, I talked to them today about that. I told them, listen, everybody we play got seniors. And when you got seniors, this they last go around at it. And no matter what the record is, they are a team that got some older guys, and they're going to fight back. Their coaching staff going to continue to prepare them. They're going to continue to get better. And we can't look at the record. It's just like the uniform I talked about a little earlier. We really don't look at that. And we understand that they got seniors. And them seniors don't want to lose, just like our seniors don't want to lose. And so I don't think that's a problem for us to say, okay, we big bag UL, we're going to overlook people now. I don't think that they haven't even came across our guys, because there's plenty of times last year we saw it on the sideline. We up in the third quarter, and we look around in the fourth quarter, and we're like, what happened to us? What happened to the lead? And nobody gonna feel sorry for you. Nobody gonna come and pat you on the back and like, we wish y'all would have won, but we got to go in there with that mentality that we got to continue to get better ourselves.
Having a team from the border of Canada coming down here in September, y'all talked about rotation, and like that could really be an advantage for y'all. Is that rotation is something that you're really going to work in this game to keep them fresh, to maybe give you an advantage?
Yeah, we're gonna rotate a lot, and that's something we work on in practice, and it starts in practice. And like today, and you got to get them to understand some of the things that we do without them really knowing what we do. Meaning, we rotate about every other play with a package or whatever, and they run on and off the field. That almost like running a gasser if you was conditioning, and they don't realize that, but it's getting them prepped on and off, and so that they get their running in practice without them knowing it. So when we get into the game, they play hard.
What have you seen, discovered, found out about your group through the first 3 weeks of the season that maybe coming into the year you maybe didn't know yet?
Well, with my group, it's still a learning experience for them. And that's something I knew coming in with Kadarius Miller, Antoine Bayless. It's learning for them. Like, we playing Northwestern State probably mid-second quarter, and they got that look in their eyes like, I can finally settle down a little bit because the crowd, they weren't used to the environment they was in. And so it took them a little time to get adjusted to everything, which, and you got guys like Jordan Lawson, even though last year was his first time really playing, he's more mature now on the field. Sonny Hazard more mature on the field. Nigel McGriff, I played him a good bit last year. He's more mature. So I'm just finding out as time goes on, you have to lean on your older guys a little bit. That's what, like first game of the year, Northwestern State, we thought they might be going tempo. If they weren't going tempo, we still needed to calm the guys down. So I went with my older unit. I went with Lawson. I went with McGriff. I went with Sonny to start the game off just to get us in a flow, to get everybody settled down instead of maybe going with a Kadarius or Antoine right off the rip. And, you know, they in a little awe out there because they finally have, you know, made it to where they said they always wanted to make it to. And so that's been the thing I discovered with the guys is I can tell they starting to feel a little comfortable of, you know, being out there.
When Marcus does come back next week, how does that change your rotation?
It don't change the rotation per se. It just gives us a big boost. Because he's one of those 4 guys I talked about when I talked to y'all the first time I came up here, that I got 4 guys in my room that's different, and he's one of those 4. So he can do a lot of different things for us. I joke around with Kadarius and Sonny a little bit, and they understand. Sonny is smart. He's strong, big, and powerful. Kadarius is twitchy and fast. Maybe not as strong as Sonny, and I say Marcus is both of you put together. That's what he is.
Now, have you been able to like see him work? I mean, is he in shape and ready to go?
Yeah, he'll be ready to go. He's getting his feet wet a little bit this week to get back in the flow of things, but he'll be ready to go next week. And the guys are excited to have him, you know, back, because before he left us, I mean, he was having a tremendous season. I mean, he was 3 or 4 sacks, maybe 5 tackle for losses in 3 games. So he'll be a big shot for us, just like Mason is. Like when Mason came back this week, I mean, he's a good player.
You mentioned Bayless. He was a guy that had a lot of promise coming in. Sonny was probably his best hype man before the season. What can you say about his performance so far?
He's doing good. One thing I'm trying to get him to understand: every play is not meant for you to make. You got to stay patient, let the game come to you, play your gap, do your responsibilities, and that's the part he's having to learn. Because coming in from the school he came from, probably he was the guy that had to make some plays. But here you don't have to do that. You got 10 other guys out there with you. They're good players. So you just got to do your part, fit your gap, and everything else will be okay. And he's starting to learn that, because he's sitting back a little bit and he was able to see Jordan Lawson. And Jordan really ain't, I can't say he's flashy right now, but he's going to do his blocks and stuff, and the play's coming to him. And he's making it, when they come, he make them count. And I think Antoine's sitting back and he looking, saying, I just got to be that way. He's a little antsy, you know, the first couple of weeks. You know, he just want to show people what he can do. And I was like, you got to let the game come to you. You can't force some stuff. But he's going to be a good one for me.